You're listening to the Begin Within Health Show with Nate Slager. For more, go to beginwithin.fit/podcast, or to enroll right now in our flagship coaching program, go to beginwithin.fit/coaching. Welcome back to the Begin Within Health Show. I have an expert interview for you today. We have Scott Allan. He is the author of the book, Do the Hard Things First: How to Win Over Procrastination and Master the Habit of Doing Difficult Work. I invited him on the show because I think we would all agree that improving health and fitness is difficult work. So we're going to take in some of his top tips on how to implement the themes that are found in his book, Do the Hard Things First. But before we dive in with Scott Allan, I just want to thank you so much for being here with me, spending some time with me, sharing some of your attention with me each and every week. I appreciate it so much, and I would appreciate it if you haven't done so already, if you would rate and review the show in your podcast player. Share it with someone who you know would also appreciate and benefit from it. Now let's dig into the themes that are in this interview that I was able to have with Scott Allan. And I appreciate him so much because he lives in Japan. So I was meeting him later in the day for me, but it was very, very early in the day for him. But he told me he has no problem waking up really, really early on a regular basis anyway. So I was happy that he was willing to start his day with me and with you by answering my questions and sharing with us how we can beat procrastination, which I think is something that we could all agree plays some role in our lives. Whether we claim to be a procrastinator or not, it's something that definitely affects us all. But one of the things I want you to listen for is what Scott says is evidence that procrastination is a problem for you. How do we know if it's really a problem? How do we know if it's really something that we should give attention to, or if maybe for lack of a better word, we're normal. We're just like everyone else. We all procrastinate from time to time. Well, how can we tell if it's really a problem for us? Listen for that. You're going to get the answer from the expert. We are also going to talk about one easy step that you can take each and every day to make sure that you wake up feeling like you are ready to roll, like it is go time. You're excited. You're ready to attack the day. Listen for that. And then finally, when Scott talks about the word clarity, pay close attention, because that is a huge theme from this interview, and it's something that is going to help you so much in your journey to better health and better fitness. All right, here is my interview with Scott Allan.
So Do the Hard Things First came about. I published the book. We're coming up on the 3rd anniversary. And I'd wanted to write a book like this for a long time. I didn't have a title for it at the time. And I'll be honest, like the title, I think people just really liked the title. And it just dropped out of the sky one day. And to be honest, I remember it happening when I was working out, because I get a lot of my ideas when I'm in, like, on the bench press, or, and probably about 10 or 15 minutes into my workout. That's when I start getting these ideas. So people probably wonder, like, why does this guy carry a pen and paper with him when he's working out? Everyone else has got a phone or something, and they're looking at that, right? But I'm like that's what one of my main motivators. But anyway, I came across the idea for the book when I was doing that. And I tied it into my chronic procrastination, because that's one thing that's actually always plagued me. which kind of goes against everything else that I do because I think I'm rather productive. I write books and I'm in the space where, productivity is one of the things that I talk about. But on the back end, and the little monster that I keep in my closet is this, this procrastination thing where like everything that would come up that was, I'm not going to say it was everything that was difficult. It could have been anything, but I would always look for a reason to just put it aside. And they were usually important things that I had to do for my relationships, for my business. And as soon as I hit a challenge or a wall, if I couldn't solve it right away, my default would be, okay, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. And that's just been a default of mine for probably decades. I just didn't realize it until, quick story though, just about 4 or 5 years ago, I had done this with one of my credit card bills. And usually I pay my bills right away, but this one particular credit card, they couldn't take the money out of my bank account. So they kept sending me these reminders again and again and again. And I kept ignoring them. And finally, it got to the point where they just sent me one final notice one day saying, "We've canceled your card and everything else." They canceled my entire credit line, which I wasn't expecting.
Okay.
And I get my point there for everybody is that this can actually have like serious consequences, right? So I said chronic procrastination. I mean, there are different levels of it, like some people just, we all procrastinate. We put things off. That's just, our nature, and it's totally fine to do that. However, if you're doing it to the point where it's damaging your business or damaging your health, putting off your workouts, your exercise, you are going to pay for that later. And I had to develop a new philosophy is like, either I can suffer now or I can suffer later. And, or, pay now or play later, as somebody used to say. But that's true. It's like if, and so that's what I tell myself every time I catch myself now putting something off. It's like, okay, well, this is a challenge and I could solve this right now if I put in, the hard work for the next like 30 or 45 minutes. And if I don't, what's going to be the negative impact of this thing like tomorrow or next week or next year? And there's always something that's going to come down the line that's going to come back at you. And I just had way too many of these things happen where I was like, I just got really tired of it, tired of myself, putting things off. And sure, I've read books on, Eat the Frog and all these other books on procrastination. And yet I just really struggle to recover from it. And I realized it's just a daily reprieve. It's just one of those things where like I may never fully recover from this, like an addict who, has to recover from an addiction, which I've had many of those before in the past. And they were the same things as like, you've got to just keep, putting in your time every day. And every time you catch yourself slipping, right, you're going to say, ah, there it is again. So part of the book is just to keep bringing yourself back to the moment where, like, like every day I'll come into my day and I'll make a list of 3 things that I have to do for the day. And I may not get all 3 of them done, but at least if I get 2 of them done, and these are the hard things that I want to get done for the day
Okay.
because they're moving the needle, moving my business forward, moving my health forward. And, if I can move these things forward, you just feel great. You feel more confident, and that's just a great place to, first of all, a great thing to start your day with that. So, I'll start my day doing one of those hard things on the list.
Nice.
And because you do that, you're setting your day up for success. So
Got it.
anyway, that's kind of the
I
concept of the
like it.
book, but there's just, yeah, yeah.
Nice. Could we talk a little bit about that habit of the three things that you
Hmm.
write down?
Sure. Yeah.
Um, t tell me more about that. Is that something you do at night before you go to sleep? Is it first thing in the morning? And how do you choose those things?
Yeah. Oh, great question. Yeah. So what I did when I started putting together do the hard things first is in order for me to get moving on these things, I made a long list of all the things I was putting off. And I realized that I couldn't do everything on the list. So I just started, I would actually just choose 3 things from that list. And I got this concept from somebody else who said, like you should put 3 things together on your list and just work on those 3 things. They didn't call them the hard things, but they were like, the 3 priorities. And other productivity gurus have talked about this. But so what I'll do is I actually have my list of goals up on my wall here, sticky notes. And for each goal, I have a list of all the action tasks. I've broken everything down into like one of them is like we're building a new website. So I had to make a list of tasks for all that. So I've got like 10 goals, writing a new book and all these things. So anyway, um, yes, every in the evening before I probably wouldn't an hour before I go to bed, I have an hour where I do focused meditation. I will listen to an audiobook. So last night I was listening to Robert Greene's mastery book for 30 minutes. I meditated for about 15 minutes, and then I'll write down three things on a sticky note where I will just put it on my desk, and it's like, okay, these are the three things that I'm going to work on today. And the reason I do it before going to bed is because when I wake up, I just want it to be go time. I just want to wake up. I know exactly what I'm doing. If I try to sort this stuff out first thing in the morning, it wastes time, but it's also you're less focused, you know. So if you do these things before you go to bed, your subconscious is going to be working on it as you're sleeping, right? I do believe that because if I don't do these things when I wake up, I'm just kind of, you start doing things by default. I feel less focused. I become confused, and then I just start working on whatever. But these three things, they are three things that are related to my goals, and if I can get these three things done, they're moving my goals forward. And some of these goals are like some of them are like maybe 3 months from now, 6 months from now. Some of them are more longer goals. Others are just really like ongoing, like creating social media content. Maybe I have to have my social media content out there by Friday. I've got a book launch coming up or something. So I've got to create that. So whatever it is, those three priorities are leading me towards my goals. And to me, that's progress because I love what Tony Robbins always said. That, you can measure your success by progress. And that's just I just like to keep things simple. So
Nice, nice. I like it. Um, I would imagine two. Well, you said the three things are moving your goals forward. I'm thinking through the filter of a lot of our listeners. They're trying very hard to get workouts, to get meal prep, get their grocery shopping, things that are
mm,
going to support their health goals done. But um, I would imagine, and maybe I'm wrong, a lot of the three things that show up on your list, are they more like one and done things, or are they things like I got to work out tomorrow? Would you put that down, or is that pretty much automated and that's
oh
doesn't need to be on there?
no, that's a good question. They'll actually be a little more detailed. So yeah, I mean, if I put something like actually working out is one of the things that I'm going to do today. Now, it's not on my list though, but that actually is one of my priorities. And the reason it's not on my list is because it's so ingrained into my routine that it's actually on my calendar, like at 1 p.m. today, I'll go to the gym. So it's not one of the things on my priority list because I know I'm not going to have a problem showing up and doing it. But give you an example, like I need to create something today for my media kit to send over to my designer so they can put together this, like media kit that we're going to be using for promotions. And for that, I had to make the details for all of this. Where there was a lot of details that went into it, so I actually spent a bit of time writing out these details so I can send this over to our graphic designer. So yeah, I'll have like what the hard thing is that I need to do or the priority, but then I'll have the details that go with it. And sometimes this thing has to be done by a certain time of the day as well. It could be like 10 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes it doesn't have to be done until the evening. So on that list of like those three priorities, uh, I'll actually have them listed like one, two, and three, of course, in order. So,
Got
but
it.
yeah, I think the more detailed you can make it, the better. So, one of the other priorities is to make, well, again, to make a healthy lunch, before I go for my workout. But again, it may not be something on my list because that's just part of my routine anyway. But however, to your point though, the night before, I'll actually start to put together what that lunch is going to be, and I'll even make as much of it as I can and put it in the fridge, knowing that the dinner is in the fridge, the lunch is in the fridge. I've got my workout stuff already prepped. So this stuff is also stuff that I will prep before, the night before. So again, once I go into my day, everything's already lined up like that.
Nice,
So
nice. I
I know
like
that
it.
sounds very organized and structured, but I think I have to do that because if I don't, the opposite of that is that I won't do these things. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I forgot to pack my gym bag. Well, maybe I just won't go today. I'll just put it off until tomorrow. And then the cycle starts, and start
Yeah.
making excuses to why I shouldn't do it. So,
Yeah, I think that is a um it's a very I find it's an important thing to overcome procrastination, but I think one of the things that I've heard, and I'll let you give me some feedback on this is people are they're almost afraid to be too organized. Like I
Mm.
like to have a little I like my day to be loosey goosey. I want to have some decisions to make. I want to. Are they setting themselves up for failure, or is there room for that? Do you think?
I think yeah, great question. I think there has to be room for that. And to be honest, I allow room for that. So yeah, I'm not, my schedule's not set up like I'm in the military and just doing this at 2 and this at 3 and this at 4. I'd like it to be, but what I found is that I was failing at that. So again, as long as I have these things that I want to do every day that really matter to me, like yes, working out is one of them. Being creative, like having my creative window for I have a creative window that's some days it's for 1 hour, other days it's for 2 hours, but I just block that in my calendar. So as long as I have these things that I'm working on, outside of that, like yesterday, I actually had my Netflix time for 90 minutes, got into a show. And so, but the thing is, like, that actually helps me because it's like, okay, it's time to wind down. I'm going to take time out to, watch Netflix or whatever it is that you want to do. And you really need to, yeah, let yourself just be you during that time so that you're not feeling like you're just constantly running this marathon because I also don't think
Mm,
that's good. You're going to end up burning out and then hating your routine, and then you're going to be looking for a way out.
got it.
So just give yourself a break and allow yourself to just yeah let loose every day and just have your playtime. You got to have
Yeah.
your playtime. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that. It's like building in some time to just be just
Mm.
let your mind do whatever it wants without having a task that has to be accomplished. Build it in, and then I would imagine you're finding that the rest of the time it's easier perhaps to focus because you've had that free thought time.
And one more point to that too is that because a lot of listeners probably have families and they're looking after kids and everything. So back when I think like my kids are a little older now, but back when they were smaller, and I had to I was building my publishing business and public writing books and stuff. So I had to wake up early in the morning around 4:30, 5 o'clock, get my writing time in, and that was one of the hard things to do. I still do that, by the way, just because I've developed that habit. But that was really hard to do. Is like wake up at 4:30, put in an hour of writing time, and then the family gets up, and then I had to go to my day job. And during my day job, so people have these things that they have to do outside of if they have other ambitious goals. But I just found like, okay, if I can just get my writing in the morning, it's done. I've got my 1,000 words a day. And if I just do that for 30 days, I've got my book. And you can apply that to anything else, right? Whether you're training for something or, working towards something else. But yeah, because we do have to build our schedule around, these are the things that just, we have to spend time with family and friends and do these things too. So
Yeah.
definitely have to allow for that.
Nice, nice. Any other tips? Just general tips to help us overcome procrastination?
Yeah. So what I've discovered is that one of the reasons that I still procrastinate to this day, and whenever I do, it's like it always comes back to clarity because whenever I'm not clear on what it is that I need to do, it's a lack of clarity. Right. So just being really clear on, again, I mentioned like the goals thing, but the goals are important, and I know like, and a lot of people I talk to actually, 'cause I actually ask a lot of my friends or whenever I meet them, and it probably drives them nuts, but I'm like, what are your goals for today or this week? And they're like, well, I don't really have any. Like, well, if you did, what would you? So I kind of push people a little bit to have these goals because for me again it's just moving us forward spiritually, emotionally, moving our health forward. If you have these health goals, and of course the mindset too. For my mindset goals, it's really just reading books and listening to audiobooks and watching podcasts and things like that. So I do have these goals related to each different field of like whatever it is that I want to get better at. But what I would just recommend for anybody is just journaling. I love journaling, and in my journal, that's where I actually get a lot of the ideas that I have, in my head, down on paper, and then you can sort things out. But that's where you get the clarity, like the clarity of what is it that you really want. The clarity of like now that you know what you want, how are you going to get it? Now you have to be clear on the action steps to take, and now you need clarity on when can you do this during the day? Because like most people, we're probably all really busy. So we've got to squeeze these things in.
Yeah.
So I would say like I think that also keeps it rather simple because you just write it down, work on your plan, and then just show up every day a little bit to to put in 8 hours a day because again, people have jobs and families and things. But if you have a something that you're aiming for, then just know what it is and work on your plan every day, whether it's half hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. And I believe in momentum and like you show up every day and you put in the time. You may feel some days where like, you're not getting anywhere, but suddenly like you're going to hit you're going to hit velocity like after 3 months or 6 months. It might be a year, and then who knows? Like something is just opportunity is going to show up and things are going to take off. Like I really believe in that. So.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I was gonna ask you, as just kind of as I'm wrapping up, if somebody is that they're listening in, they're thinking that's all great, but I'm just feeling like I lost it. I don't know how to get going again. I know I need to improve my health, but it just feels like a big mess right
Mm-hmm.
now. What
Yeah.
what might be something that you would recommend as far as a first step for someone in
Mm-hmm.
that situation?
Yeah, no, that's great. And I've been there many times where I've stopped writing. I didn't quit, but I wasn't writing or writing books. I've stopped working out before. And every time I did, what I found is that the longer you stop doing things, the easier it gets to just stop doing those things. And I always had the desire to go back and do this thing. And I would tell people, yeah, I really just want to go back and get into X, Y, and Z again. Right. And I never did because it just felt so overwhelming. Like I had to start all over again. And, I just didn't want to do that. I mean, start all over again, but I really wanted to get back into doing this thing. So I'll give you an example. I think I'd stopped working out for maybe like a year or something. And it was a long time. So I've been doing it since I was 16. So what I found is, first of all, I just felt terrible. Like I'm not terrible, but I just didn't feel like it wasn't me. I'd given up the one thing that I really wanted to do. And so what I did to get back into it is I had to break it down into really small steps. And what I did is I ordered a small set of weights and I just started doing literally like 5 or 10 minutes a day at home, right? So this started to build that little, I'm not going to call it a habit, but it started to like build that little muscle again. And I was like, okay, this is great. And actually started to feel good again, which is the key. Like, I was bringing that emotional impact back into my life. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going back to the gym. Well, I don't have my membership again. So I went into the gym and again, I just made it one of those small things that I could do. Like as I was driving by the gym, I just went in, talked to the staff and signed up again for like another 3 months or something. So, okay, that step is done. And I would actually make these steps on if I do this, this, and this, these small steps, eventually I might get myself back into the yoga class or the aerobics class, like whatever it is you want to do. But it can be a little bit, I guess, overwhelming if you just, jump right back into it. And maybe some people can do that. But if you have that resistance to getting back into it again, just break it down into a small step. And I've done this with, picking up musical instruments again, working out. When I quit writing for like a year, I just made a commitment to myself to show up every day and just do like a paragraph. Like it was something really serious. Like, okay, got my paragraph done. Can I do another one? And the more you do this, the more you realize like you're proving to yourself that, oh, I'm not a big loser after all. I'm not worthless. I can actually do this. It was just my mind telling me that, well, you gave that thing up, so it's over now. I just could never accept that because again, something I wanted to do, but I had to start small and just start with that. The other thing too, just with working out. So what I would do is in the morning, and I might have gotten this idea from Tom Bilyeu, who runs Impact Theory. And he said like he hates working out, right? It's interesting. He's in good shape and he hates working out. He's admitted this because every morning I just pack my gym bag, I put it by the door, actually by my bed. So when I get up, it's right there. And James Clear mentioned this in Atomic Habits as well. I think he had a name for it. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, that's great because you're cutting all the resistance out right away. It's waiting for you right there with the bed. You get out of bed, and I do the same thing now. Just do like 15 or 20 minutes of yoga and just to start the day off. And then I like to go to the gym later on. But that's just like one of those things where you can eliminate any of the resistance and just setting yourself up for success, and do that the night before. So first of all, identify what it is, that one thing that you really want to do that you've got resistance to doing. Set up one small step to do it, and then just start to do that for, like, it might be just what something you just need to do, like maybe it's a one-off thing, like, again, signing up for the gym again. And then if I struggle with, by the way, like going to the gym, driving to the gym. I'm like, well, should I really go today? It's really nice out. And I'm actually making excuses as I'm going there. Like, no, I'm just going to get to the parking lot and park my car and then decide if I want to go in. And of course, you get to that stage. It's like, well, I guess if I just get to the door, I can. And this sounds really silly, but there are days when I actually have to walk myself through this mental process to get myself to the floor. So,
Nice, nice. I like the phrase you used, something you want to do, but there's some resistance.
mhm,
It's not being judgmental. It shows a lot of self-compassion. There's
mhm,
you know, there's nothing wrong with you. You want to do it, but there's just some resistance. Find a way to make it nice and small. Takes
yeah,
away, lower the resistance until it's liftable, right? It's doable. So
yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of excuses for sure, but it's just your mind just trying to come up with ways to, put it off until tomorrow and next week. And again, it's like, my attitude towards that is now is like I wake up every day and I'm like, oh great, one more day, one more day to, live the dream, do the thing. And so, for me, like that just breaks the procrastination habit right there. I think it's really like, without getting into the whole like psychology on procrastination, it's just for me, it was just an embedded behavior that I fed it so much that it's just a part of me. But that doesn't mean that I have to fall victim to it every time it shows up, because the key is to take action. And again, clarity is the key. If
Yeah.
you're clear on the actions you need to take, you're going to show up and just do these things. So, and by the way, I said, like, I'll have my three priorities every day. But hey, if you're struggling with that, just do one, right? You just have to do one of these things today. Because when I made my big list of all those things I was putting off, I was overwhelmed by that. But what I did is I would just choose one thing on that list. It wasn't really the hardest thing on the list. I was working up to that, but I had to get momentum going, and I had to prove to myself that I had to build that trust within myself. So I just choose one thing on this big list, and you do 365 things of like hard things every day, and you're going to have a lot of momentum after 1 year or 90 days, or, however long you put it and how much effort you put into it. That's exactly what you're going to get out of it. So,
Nice. Awesome. I like that a lot. Thank you, Scott Allan. Oh,
sure thing.
before I let you go, what's the best way for people to connect with you, follow your work right now?
Sure. Yeah. So they can certainly find the books on Amazon. I think they have the books and everything else on there. And you can just, yeah, go to Scott Allan author or scottallanbooks.com. Certainly Google will probably take you to the website. The website is scottallanpublishing.com. And we have another one, a Shopify store set up. We're selling everything directly, and we're still putting things onto the shop, but it's going to be looking pretty good in a few months. We'll have merchandise on there and courses. So they can go to scottallanbooks.com to check that out. Much
Perfect.
appreciated.
Awesome. Scott Allan, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, awesome interview. Again, I want to thank Scott for joining us here on the show. I want to thank him for waking up early and starting the day with yours truly as we had the interview, and for not being a procrastinator, for being somebody who has just dug into this process of overcoming procrastination and has worked on it to the point where he can train us, he can show us how we can make sure that procrastination is not negatively affecting us. And of course, follow the link he gave you to check out his books and follow his work. Speaking of procrastination, since that is such a huge theme here on this episode, I started you off with a question. How do you know if procrastination is a problem for you? How do we know? Is this something really that's affecting me? Is this something that I need to put some extra effort into overcoming? Or am I just like everybody else? Scott gave the answer. The answer was, is it affecting you negatively? I mean, is it really? Is it causing you to miss out on opportunities? Is it harming your health? Is it holding you back? Really holding you back from becoming a better, healthier version of yourself, or is it just something that pops up from time to time when it comes to things that you just really don't want to do, like taking out the trash or doing the dishes, those kinds of things? So if you have found, yes, procrastination is a problem, a great resource would be Scott's book, right? Check it out, do some work around it. You are not a lost cause. You don't have to stay stuck the way you are. You can change and you can continue to grow. And perhaps that is the place to focus in order to support yourself and your health and fitness journey the most, is to give some attention to procrastination and the mindset that we have around it, right? We also talked about how to make sure that we wake up feeling ready to go, ready to attack the day. I know that's something that I tease my clients that they should be feeling when that alarm first goes off, when they first open their eyes in the morning. Yes, let's go, let's attack the day. But the reality is we don't always feel that way, right? We have our ups and downs. So what's something that you can do to make sure that you are more likely, or to make sure that you are set up for success so that you do have that feeling in the morning of eagerness to start the day? Well, Scott shared his tip to write down 3 things that you can do, you can commit to doing tomorrow in order to move your goals forward, your health and fitness goals specifically, as we're here on that Begin Within Health show. Something that you can do to begin to feel better in the morning, to feel more excited, more energized, is to write those goals down the night before, so that when you wake up, you are ready to go. You know exactly what to focus on in order to move your goals forward. And finally, that theme of clarity. Clarity is so important. Recently, we did a coaching session, and I'm going to have it here on the show, if we didn't have it already for you, about a way that we can get clarity around our target, our focus on specifically nutrition is what we attacked in that coaching session. But clarity is so important. What do I want? Where am I headed? If I don't know, I'm probably already in trouble. I'm probably not really on my way there. So taking time to get very clear, doing some journaling, putting some thought into it so that we know exactly where we are headed. And that's going to help us to make better decisions day in and day out, to select things and collect things that are going to help to support us, and to reject the things that are going to hold us back from getting what we want. I hope this was a really beneficial episode for you. I know it was for me. After I got off the call with Scott, I was just like ready to go, doing my 3 things the night before and benefiting from checking those off. If you check off nothing else, if you do nothing else, and the day just kind of goes the normal way, the way it's going to go, and you're going to get the stuff done that you normally get done. But if you could do these 3 extra things today, what would they be? And that's the action step I have for you as we part ways until we talk again, is try that. Just give it a try. I'm not saying you have to commit to doing it every single night, but just try it. And if it works, you'll want to keep doing it. Put those 3 things down in your phone, in your notes app, in your things to do, little checklist app, tons of different apps that you can download, to-do lists and whatnot. But put 3 things down somewhere where you're going to see them, somewhere where you're going to be reminded of them first thing in the morning, so that you can make sure you get them done and you're moving forward toward your goals. It feels amazing. I promise you're going to enjoy it. I'd love for you to let me know how it's going. Connect with me on social media at Nate Slager. Tell me how your 3 things went. That 3 things exercise. Tell me how it goes. And until we talk again, I hope that you continue to take good care of yourself. I'll talk with you again soon.